Hello, beautiful people. Welcome or welcome back to Black Girl Creative. Yay! My name's Alicia Renice, and I'm so happy that you are here. I hope this podcast finds you well, excited, well rested, healthy. And if not, I hope that your day gets better. I hope that you become better. I hope that this podcast is helpful to you in some sort of way. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. You could be anywhere, literally anywhere in the world, but you're spending time with me. So thank you. Today, we're going to talk about quitting. We're going to talk all about quitting. There's a quote by Vince Lombardi that we repeat over and over and over again without actually thinking about it. It says, winners never quit and quitters never win. Again, winners never quit and quitters never win. Now, first of all, my first question is, who is Vince Lombardi? And what does Vince Lombardi know, right? So I Googled Vince Lombardi. I am not a sports head, so forgive me, but he's an NFL coach. He was a famous NFL coach, and he had a lot of sayings that I don't even necessarily rock with. Like, let me pull up one that I found. A quote from him is, defeat is worse than death because you have to live with defeat. I'm like, bro, what? There's another quote that he says, fatigue makes cowards of us all. Huh? And then there's another quote, which makes sense to me. Football is a game for madmen. Okay. So that's the kind of person that said that quote. He's very intense, right? Very no, you hustle on, you push through. I don't care if you're tired. That's the kind of logic and reasoning. That's what he's coming from. And I don't rock with that. I don't rock with that. And a lot of times we take in quotes and just these sayings and take them on as truth, as if there is nothing else to believe, as if he's God, right? As if his word is Bible. And it's no, he's a human being. Vince Lombardi was a human being, right? With his own perspectives, his own traumas, his own experiences. And he's in a very competitive field working as a football coach. His goal is to win and to win by any means necessary. And I even have thoughts about football. That's a whole other discussion though. How football is using people's sacred bodies to make other people money. It's giving slavery. But again, we'll talk about that later. Just the brutality of it. I don't rock with it, right? It's a very violent culture. It's a very violent game. And how these coaches look at their people's bodies is very violent. We're going to keep you well as long as you make money for us. We're going to keep you well so that you can keep making me money. So when I hear this quote, winners never quit and quitters never win, immediately a red flag goes up. Immediately. Because again, who said that Vince Lombardi has to be God? And why do we have to agree with this quote? Did nobody ever question? Nobody said, it sounds good, right? It feels good. It's about ego. It's about you can have anything you want through your own strength. If you don't quit something, you'll have everything that you want. You'll have success. But there has been instances where I did not quit and I still did not gain success, right? So what does that mean? Does that mean that I won? There are instances where I didn't quit things that I should have quit. I stayed too long. I endured too much because I thought that would make me better. I thought that was me being a good person. And as a Black woman, speaking as a Black woman, a lot of us are praised for the suffering that we endure. A lot of us are praised for how much hardship we can take on, how much we can body, I'm thinking about a football player, running through the, what do you call it? I don't even know the technical terms, but the bodies of people, running through the bodies of people with this ball in your hand, running to the finish goal, right? You don't quit. You keep pushing, no matter if your body is in pain, no matter if somebody is tackling you from the side, by any means necessary, you get to that end goal. So based on that game, I can kind of understand that, but that's not real life. That's not real life. That's a game. Quitting, in my definition, quitting can definitely be winning. There are things that I probably should have quit way before I did. I was on a panel last night. Shout out to Dr. Kimani and Marissa and India. And we were on the panel talking about our experiences in college. And I'll link the video below, the link to the video. But we were talking about our experiences in college and how that translated with our experiences or to our experiences in the workforce. And so one thing that my experience in college taught me was that I stay too long in things. It took me 9 years to get my degree. I have not, shied away from that story. But what I didn't include is that I was facing a lot of oppression. I was facing a lot of abuse at the hands of my professors. And I thought if I endured, if I pushed through, then this would be a win for me. When I got my degree, y'all, let me tell you something. I got my degree. I walked across that stage and I went home and I didn't feel any less fatigued. I didn't feel any less burdened because of all I went through, right? I had this piece of paper, but at what cost? It cost me burnout. It cost me my peace of mind. It cost me my rest, my joy. And even after I got that degree, I didn't even want to do anything anymore because I endured too long. At my job, the last job that I had, working at a hospital, I was working these regular hours, it seemed to me, but I was doing too much because my body was breaking down. And instead of listening to my body, I was like, no, we have to endure. Let's get some things to fix this problem, the physical problem, and not really getting to the heart of it. The heart of it was that I was at a place that was really destructive to my soul, to my spirit, and to my body, to my peace of mind. I was suffering, but I thought that suffering was normal. When you're growing up, you're kind of taught that life is going to be hard. Life is not going to be no crystal stairs. Shout out to Langston Hughes, right? Like, we're kind of taught that, like, no, life is hard, life is grinding, life is difficulty, and you can't quit. And so it would make sense for an oppressor, for an oppressive, place to make us believe that life has to be hard. And to be completely honest, right, the bar for hard is always more intensified for Black and brown bodies. It just is, right? Because of slavery. So because I'm coming from a people who have been oppressed their whole time being in this country, even my meter, my reading for difficulty is kind of tuned differently than everybody else's who might have more privilege than I do. So for me, suffering could be like the worst of the worst for somebody else. And for me, like, this is normal. This is okay. But what if we change the dial? What if we retuned? What if you were allowed to pivot? What if you were allowed to quit? What if you were allowed to change your mind? Let's talk about that. Now, personally, I have a little anxiety when it comes to making decisions. I am one of those girls. I just am. When it comes to what do you want to eat? What do you want to wear? Where do you want to go? I get overwhelmed because I'm so worried about making the wrong decision, right? I'm so worried about making the wrong decision when the truth is that if I don't like this decision, I can always change my mind. I can always make another decision. Now, I don't know where, I'm sure if I went to therapy, I could figure out where, but I don't know where I got this anxiety around making a decision, making the wrong decision. Actually, some things do come to mind. Perfectionism comes to mind, letting other people down, other people's judgments and worries, right? What they value comes to mind. Putting other people before myself, before my own wants and desires come to mind. And that's why it's so hard for me to sometimes make the right decision. I'm so worried about making the wrong one, as if there is a right or wrong decision. There is only information. I make the decision today and I decide, actually, I didn't like that. Let me try something else next time, right? I didn't like the food. What is the worst that's going to happen? I'm probably going to order something else, right? Like, I have options. I have options. One thing Marissa Price said last night on the panel I was on was, you're not stuck. You have options. You're not a tree, right? You can get up and move. Now, I'm not going to say that making a decision isn't costly, because sometimes it is. Sometimes you just have to eat it, right? Like, yes, I spent this money. Yes, I spent this time, but don't allow the money you spent or the time you spent keep you somewhere you don't want to be. There's something called like sunken cost fallacy, where it's like, oh, I've been here for these many years, so I can't give up because that would be me quitting and I would lose, right? And so we focus so much on what we were going to lose. Like, oh, I'm going to lose this opportunity. I'm going to lose this cushy position, but you don't even like it in the first place. You don't even want to be there, right? Instead, maybe we should focus on what is possible, what could be on the other side at that pivot when we turn to face a different direction. Oh, I have visions that I didn't have visions of before. I have a new perspective. I have new ideas, new communities. And the thing is, starting something new and quitting and starting something again is scary. It's scary because what is that phrase that people say? They say, oh, it's about the devil you know versus the devil you don't, right? It's the devil either way. You know what I'm saying? Like, the devil could be you being stuck and sad and burdened and overwhelmed and all the things you already know that you're experiencing on a day-to-day basis. Or the new devil could be trying something new, beginning again, learning a new way of being, meeting new people, having new opportunities. Why are you not worthy of those new opportunities? Why? Why not you? Why can't we focus on the thing working out? What if it does work out? Instead of thinking like, oh, everything's going to fall apart, I'm going to lose everything. What if you don't lose anything at all, actually? What if it's actually beautiful? And even what if you stumble, it's still okay? What if there is no judgment? What if there is no failure? What if there is no success? What if there's only lessons? What if you choosing yourself and choosing the next best thing for yourself could be success? What if it could be that simple? It could. It could. You're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to quit. That's right. You heard it here first. You're allowed to quit. There are a lot of things I should have quit a long time ago that I didn't. And me carrying that over to where I am now, it just becomes heavy. It becomes a drain. It wears me out. It wears me thin, even down to the way that I do things, right? I'm doing more podcasting because that's all I have energy to do right now. And of course, the first thing is like, girl, you got to make a video. You got to edit it. It has to be this big thing, blah, blah, blah. I don't have energy for it. And if I kept pushing through that energy, I would be exhausting myself doing something that is out of alignment for me. Doing something that's out of alignment for me. When I think of being in alignment, I think of a spine, right? How your spine discs are stacked on each other. I'm always using an example that I'm not qualified to talk about, but here we are. So your spine, right? Your spine has discs that are aligned with each other. And when they're aligned, they work well together. You're flowing, you're moving. But when your discs are out of alignment, it hurts. There's pressure, there's tension, there might be numbness. You're not moving in a way that is flowing and that is free, right? So when you're doing stuff that's out of alignment for you, everything you do is going to feel labored. It's going to be painful, when it's best just to let go of the thing so you're not pulling yourself out of alignment, putting the thing down, right? Trying something new, expressing yourself in a different way. All of those things are valid and they're allowed. I think sometimes it's really hard for us right now as creatives because we are living our lives for an algorithm. The algorithm teaches us what to like. The algorithm shows us what we should watch. The algorithm is shaping us into who it wants us to be. We're no longer checking in with ourselves and saying, does this feel good to me? Does this feel right to me? Like checking in once a month. Like, what if we did that once? Is what I'm doing working? And not working as in numbers, because great, you could have all the numbers and all the followers and all the money and all the things. But if you're not well, what is the point? What is the point when you have choices and options? What you've always done, you don't have to do. How you've always done something, you don't have to do. This past weekend, I went to Exodus Summit with put on by Rashida Dow and Stephanie Perry, along with their admin team, just a wonderful team. And there was a speaker by the name of Rachel Cargill who really spoke to me in her session. And she was talking about how other people want to I think she was talking specifically about DEI, but this could apply to anything, right? So diversity, equity, and inclusion, and saying yeah, I want to be an activist, but how can I be an activist by doing these things? And she's saying with everything she's doing, she is being a DEI person. I don't know what you call them, but she's doing DEI work through all of the modes that she's doing something. And I said to myself, wow, what a beautiful concept. Yes, I am a singer. Yes, I am a writer. Yes, I'm a podcaster. Yes, I'm a facilitator. Yes, I'm all these things, right? But at the core of it, I'm still Alicia. I'm Alicia. Even if there is no title, no specific pithy title to put on myself, I'm still me. And I can express myself in different ways. As a multi-passionate artist, I know what it feels like when you want to do something new, but it's but this is not what people know me for. So what, right? They know you. They might not know you for this thing, but they know you. And the people who really resonate with you, no matter how you express yourself in that way, now let me be clear. There will be people who will fall off when you do your own thing, but those aren't your people anyway, right? They may have been your people for that time and we bless them and we thank them, but we move forward in the way that feels most authentic and honest to us. So we want people, it's really scarcity. The more that I think about it, the more I think that it is scarcity because we think if I leave this position, I'm going to leave these people behind. They're not going to come with me anymore. And maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. But on the other side of you choosing the next pivot, the next step, the quitting the thing, there are other people waiting to receive you. There are other people waiting to hear from you, waiting to see you or, experience you through food or whatever it is that you do. There are other people waiting to experience you in that way. And I think we just have to do a better job at trusting the voice inside of us, at trusting our soul, at trusting God, right? God's leading us in the next direction, that thing that we feel inspired by, and not judging ourselves for it or blaming ourselves for being a quitter. I want to be a quitter. I want to quit as many things as possible to get to the things that really call out to me. I want to put down the things that are weighing me down and pick up the things that feel light and airy and fun. I want to make all the choices. I want to have all the options. I think that's one of my definitions of freedom is having options, right? And so what's the point of having the options and you don't choose any of them? What's the point of not exercising your options? The freedom to choose options when you want options. Maybe we should ask ourselves instead of what am I going to lose? Who's going to judge me? What are they going to say? Am I going to be a loser? Are people going to see me as a failure? Maybe we can ask what else could actually be possible? Make room for the I don't know. Because it's a beautiful place to be. To be in a place where you don't know what's going to happen is scary, right? It's unsure. It feels unsteady. It feels insecure. But it's also beautiful because anything is possible. It can go any way. There's magic in that I don't know. There's magic in that I'm not sure. I can't see. But there's also the truth in that what you're doing now, where you are now, is not working anymore. And that's enough to trust yourself to go on to the next thing, because you deserve the next thing. You deserve freedom. You deserve to fall and to stumble and to make mistakes. You deserve to have grace for yourself, to figure it out along the way, because nobody knows what they're doing. There is no failure. There is no win. No one knows what they're doing. I think people just do the best with what they have, the information that they have. They see this person do it like this, so I have to keep doing it like this. No, you don't. And I feel like the only information we have is what we've seen ourselves do in the past, right? Like, I've only seen myself do this. This works for me. People know me for this. This is comfortable, but you're not enjoying it anymore. But you don't like it anymore. It's making your work feel laborious. It's making you become hard and bitter. It's wearing you out. It's burning you out. And you deserve a creative process, not just an outcome of creative work. You deserve a creative process that actually feels good. What if instead of focusing on what we can't control, right? Maybe people won't like it. Maybe people won't come with us, but that's not our business anyway. Our business is to be authentically us. Our business is to follow the voice that we hear inside. And that's it. That is your only responsibility. And the rest, I trust to God. I give it to God. Okay, God. All right, here we go. We're doing a thing. Let's do it. And when you're honoring yourself, it feels good. When you're honoring yourself, it feels light. It feels airy. It might still feel scary, but it feels rejuvenating, because doing things as you always have done them for the sake of doing them and keeping up appearances is exhausting. It's tiring. So you have choices, you have options. Shout out to Marissa Price talking about you're not a tree. You're not a tree. You're a living human being. And even trees make different decisions. Trees change the way that it grows, right? To compensate for the slope that it's growing on. Trees change positions based on where the sun is hitting. And where is the sun calling out to you? Where is it hitting on you? If a tree can move and change, so can you. So I'm here to tell you that winners do quit. Winners quit all the time, because quitting leaves room for the win. If you're never quitting anything, you're carrying so much, so many bags, so many ideas, right? So many labels that you don't even identify with anymore. Quitting is beautiful. Quitting is brave. Quitting is worthy of celebration. So if you're quitting something, a job, a relationship, a title, if you're trying something new, if you're pivoting, if you're putting it all down together, if you're making different decisions, I celebrate you. And we don't have to look at our past with disdain or with judgment, right? Or be like, oh, I stayed here too long. No. We look at it with joy and gratitude, because we did the best with what we had. We did the best we could do with what we had. And now you're worthy of something different. Now you know different. You do different. Okay? So again, you're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to quit. You're allowed to change your mind. It's not a failing. It's just information. And it's beautiful because you're honoring yourself. There are so many artists who change the way that they do things, and we celebrate them for every pivot that they make. The artist that we know towards the end of their life is not the artist they started out being. They gave themselves permission to experiment, to play, to try again, to put down, to quit. So in order to get to success, I really feel like we have to quit. We have to put things down that aren't working to do things that work for us. I don't care what Vince Lombardi said. I don't care what the guru says. You are your own guru. Listen to yourself. God is speaking to you. What is God saying? What do you feel called to? What do you feel excited by? Do that thing. And if you honestly think about it, right? It's like we have a plate. Our lives are a plate. Over the course of our lives, we get, sweet potatoes, and we get green beans, and we get chicken, and all these different things, okra, Brussels sprouts, right? At some point, the plate is going to be overflowing. And so over all the years of our lives, we have acquired so many things that we have picked up. Success is not measured by how long we do something, how long we stay in something that we hate. That is not success. We get to define what success looks like for us. So if success looks like for you being in full joy, what on that plate don't you like? Maybe you don't like yams. Maybe when you eat mac and cheese, it hurts your stomach, right? Like maybe when you eat this chicken, it gives you a headache because it's too much salt. Maybe you have to quit those things to be well. And in the same way in our own lives, there are things that we do that we just kind of accept as like, I don't really like doing this, but I'll do it. I'm not really feeling doing it like this, but I guess it's what I've always done. I don't really know what to do else, otherwise. So I'm just going to keep doing this. Like, no, clear your plate. And the only way that we can clear our plates is by quitting. Quit that mac and cheese because it makes your stomach hurt. i.e., quit your job because you hate it. Quit your job because it's ruining your body. Quit, painting the way that you've always been painting. Try something new. And again, like I said, for myself, like talking into a mic is very easy for me right now because I'm experiencing burnout. I'm tired, right? But talking into a mic is very easy for me. It's very cathartic. And it helps me to get my message across and with the least amount of pressure or, resistance, with the least amount of resistance. So what is the least amount of resistance? What way is the least amount of resistance for you? You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to do the easy thing. You're allowed to take the easy way out. It's not really a way out, right? It's a way in. It's a way in. Doing things the easy way is not a way out. It's an easy way in. It helps you get the thing done without burning yourself out. And you're allowed to do that. So quit the hard. Quit the things that feel hard to you. Quit the things that feel unnecessarily difficult. I will say that sometimes in life, there are difficult things that we kind of have to maneuver through and work through, right? But you don't have to do that to yourself. You don't have to create the process that makes you hate your work. You don't have to create the life that you hate because you feel like if you quit, you're going to lose. What if winning is joy? What if winning is ease? What if success is you loving your life? Why can't you do that? Why doesn't that count? And who says? You don't have to listen to Vince Lombardi. You're not a football player. You're you. You're a holy, sacred being, and you're deserving of ease, of rest, of play, of experimentation. You're deserving of that grace to figure it out. You're deserving of that space of I don't know, because there, anything is possible. You get a blank slate. So what will you do with it? That's the question I have for you. What will you do with your blank slate? I would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment. Send me an email if you want to. I hope this episode was helpful. I hope that it gives you permission. Again, not that you need my permission to quit. But sometimes it does feel good to be like, someone gets it. I see you. You're allowed. So you're allowed. You're allowed. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you all in the next episode. Quit to win. You're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to quit. You're allowed to try something different. You have options. Okay. And I will talk to you all in the next one. All right. Bye.